People who have had threesomes. How did they get initiated? Alcohol. Really this. Finished a game of Kings in my dorm room in uni. One of the girls was locked out, so she asked me to crash in and start kissing with another girl who was just dumped by her boyfriend. So it's about a lucky context, I guess. I have 2 girls I knew from high school needed a ride to a bar. They invited me to join them but was actually on my way to a prior engagement, and I was able to give them a ride and worked just fine with my schedule. When I was finished with what I was doing, they called me and they needed a ride back home, but I was no longer in the area. They stated they'd make it worth my while, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You yada over the best part. In college, me and 2 of my classmates were discussing about things we hadn't done yet, and none of us had a threesome, so we had one. A Tinder match said she was out with a friend, and I crassly suggested a threesome as a joke. She showed up 30 minutes later with an even hotter girl covered in tattoos. Eugene, Oregon was great. All of y'all are imagining everyone in this thread as being way more attractive than they actually are IRL. For the first one, my friend wanted to arrange it as a treat for her boyfriend. She knew what I was like, so she just straight up asked me after a couple of glasses of wine one night. It was horrific, though. Definitely wouldn't do it again with someone I'm that close to. Second one was a couple who were into swinging. They were a bit older than me and sort of hinted at it a couple of times. I was hanging out at theirs and the wife got flirtier and touchier with me whilst the husband just watched until he could tell I was cool with the idea of a threesome. That one was much better, but I'm not a fan of threesomes overall. Too many bits flying around. It's like trying to rub your belly and pat your head at the same time. My other 2 cellmates decided this for me. Once the girl I was with and her best friend and I were chilling, just drinking pretty heavily. I went to the kitchen to grab a drink, and when I returned to them, the friend was straddling my girl in her chair, tongue kissing. Was basically the hottest thing I'd ever seen in real life. I just sat down at the table and watched for a minute, and then they both looked over at me and then it was on. Not my only threesome, but definitely my most memorable, best sex, and easiest threesome I ever had. Greater than not my only threesome, I must be doing something wrong. Set the mood. Pulled it out, started, then bam, my second hand joined the party, threesome achieved. So basically, for pretext, my girlfriend and I had this running joke for a while that I can't name any 90s R&B tracks or artists by ear. So we, along with her slutty best friend, had been drinking. Basically a song came on and they bet me a double blowjob that I wouldn't guess the artist, and I happened to get it right. The look on their faces was priceless, man. After the head, I wound up having a threesome with them. A guy could do anything with a double blow job on the line. I could recite the whole dictionary from memory for that. My wife told me she has been curious about what it would be like with a girl. I told her if she had an opportunity she should explore it. She ended up having some drinks and fooling around with our neighbor. After a couple of times I ended up walking in on them. It was a bit awkward for me. I saw myself out. About 5 minutes later they came and found me to make sure everything was cool. I said it was fine. They then asked me if I wanted to watch. Watching soon turned to some interaction, and then the next time I was involved from the beginning. We made sure to follow rules that we all agreed to be comfortable with. It was lots of fun. Over the next year or so we had a few threesomes and things never got weird. Greater than we made sure to follow rules that we all agreed to be comfortable with. Another reply on respective boundaries. I like this. Step 1. I reached into my wallet. Me and my girl have had a couple. The last one I bought a pair of dice that had 1 action and 1 body part so everyone can get comfortable with it, being that it was the other woman's first time doing it. Okay, now I'm going to lick your eyes. Whisper into ass. Me. Geez, you got a big asshole. Geez, you got a big asshole. Her. Why'd you say it twice? Me. I didn't. Original poster is just trying to find a way to have one. I was passed out and woke up to 2 girls having sex on top of me. One whispered in my ear that I had better wake up, so I did. How do we tell you? Skeptical smiley face. It wasn't rape. Alright, it was just a minor sexual assault. She didn't force anything up my bum, that's why it's not rape. Edit. Context. A girl from work I was hooking up with was bi. I met up with her at a Halloween party, and after a few hours and with the drinks flowing, I walked in on her eating out her friend in a random bedroom. I stood there not really knowing how to react to the situation because I actually did have feelings for her, and it did kind of feel like she was cheating to me. She then invited me to join, and next thing you know I was banging both of them. It was fun and everything, but not life-changing like people make it out to be. I actually forgot about it until I saw this post. What kind of life do you live that you forget about a threesome? He's the most interesting man in the world. I had $1 million. Lawrence from Office Space. Professed lesbian friend wanted to try Coke and Pepsi. I have a long-term FWB and he asked. He had met a girl that he was seeing casually and he knew I would be attracted to her. So we got a hotel room during the day, 4/20 this year, and had ourselves a blast. 10 out of 10. We will now be looking to add the occasional extra. My ex and her friend suggested it after a couple of drinks. It wasn't well communicated and didn't end well. The other time was when I was with a girl and my friend was with one. We switched girls but he left, so it was just me and these two girls I don't know. It ended very well. We got drunk with some other PPL for my birthday party and then almost everyone left except my wife's friend. My wife told her she's bisexual, turns out the other girl was too. Quite a lot of alcohol was involved on everyone's part. They started making out and undressing. I joined in and the next thing I know I'm having sex with the other girl while my wife beside me is saying, "How can this gift ever be topped?" As far as I know it was unplanned and spontaneous, which could have massively backfired but turned out to be a great experience for everyone. I went to a party with my, now, ex, where her ex happened to be. I had never met her, but was being polite. Politeness and some alcohol turned into talking about my, now, ex's proclivity for eating ass, somehow, and however since we both have been into it. From there, it wasn't a long road to all groping each other tits and leaving the party. It was a lot of fun, but definitely led to a breakup in the next few weeks once the post-sex, "Did we just fuck your ex?" conversation happened. Yeah, the old "did we just fuck your ex" conversation. Just hate those. I was dating this girl and I decided that I wanted to break up with her and date her roommate. My friend George suggested that I tell my girlfriend that I was interested in a three-way. My girlfriend would then be disgusted by my suggestion, break up with me, and then tell her roommate. Said roommate would be flattered and then I could bump into her and ask her out. I turned out that the roommate was into it. I ended up having to get robes and lotions. Actually after a gig went back to the motel, me and another band member and a fan, and just put the single bed together. Greater than and just put the single bed together. Was she Swedish? I can't imagine putting together an IKEA single bed at that time of night as a prelude to sex. Edit. Fuck, I'm drunk, which poetically was probably the chat up line used. Two best friends plus me accidentally book only one hotel room with a king-size bed, the rest is history. Ah, the ol' oops, there's only one room, bed. So is sexually bi, romantically straight. What that means is she is physically into girls, but not emotionally. She wanted to try a three-way, we talked about it, I was okay with it. We established boundaries, then we went out on the town. She hit it off with a girl at a bar, made her intentions clear, girl was okay with it, discussed boundaries with new girl to make sure everyone was comfortable, and went back to our place. Overall it was a nice experience but not one I actively would seek out again. I like to give one person my full attention, and like the same in return. Just more intimate. Thank you for helping me finally figure out what I am. My boyfriend was surprised when I told him I am bi, and that I had never dated a woman because I was not interested in a relationship with one or could not picture myself with one. I just never thought about it being that way for some reason. I can answer this one finally. Happened recently. Two close friends of mine recently got engaged, so we threw a party to celebrate at our place. We lived together with a fourth as well. After a few hours of partying, a couple people turned in and things got a bit more mellow. A friend, who I'll call P, asked if they could take their pants off and we were like, "Ye sure, why not?" For some background, the people who were still up are very casual and open about sexuality and our bodies, so I didn't think anything of it. Also, ya know, booze. Anyway, I got mesmerized by P's butt, and asked if I could touch it, to which I got the response, "Aw dude, you don't have to ask to touch my butt." So I did. That led to a little flirtiness, and they flirted back, but there was also flirting going on between them and my best friend G, not one of the freshly engaged. After a bit we're just in a big cuddle pile talking, doing some light touching and flirting between the three of us, and eventually I just up and said, "Yo, you guys wanna go to my room? You two can get started, I gotta piss and I'll meet ya in there." They went, I pissed, when I got in the room they had gotten started and we proceeded to have a threesome. Was a good time had by all, though it did leave G with a few questions in the morning about his sexuality and what he wants in life. Nobody regrets it though, and we all agree it was a lot of fun, no weirdness or anything. Edit. For clarity. P is female and identifies as they, them. Me and G are male and G identifies as he, him. Ah, the old Jimbo. A classic. Oh man, now my pants are chafing me. I am sure it depends on the partners, but for me, a long time ago, my wife and I were fooling around and she, surprisingly, said, if we could have someone else here with us right now, who would you choose? A while later, while sucking on her nipple, which she loves, I said something like, how would it be for you if someone else was sucking on that other nipple right now? She was very excited at that thought. Well, from there it just became a matter of who we could find and, more importantly, what we expected and did not expect, how far we'd go, and so on. You can't leave it there. Oh, yeah, so after much discussion, we decided we did not know anyone who would be interested, so we then decided we would go to Vegas and hire a female escort and say we wanted only for her to suck on my wife's tit, while I sucked on the other, and otherwise pleasured her, and we would all be completely naked for this, my stipulation. So, we did that, and it cost way too much, but it was awesome. The next time, we decided that we would do other stuff. So, every other time, she decides, and then I decide, and so on. The one thing we agree on is that neither of us fucks someone else. This is the most wholesome debauchery ever. Seriously though, good system, good respecting boundaries. Thumbs up. First time I was actually approached by two women at a bar. It was clear they were experimenting and just kind of wanted to use me as a buffer. Second time a close friend's husband actually asked me out of the blue. He was always into it and he said I was the most trustworthy friend she's ever had. Actually ended up liking the devil's threesome more.